every athlete, every person, every human being has an opportunity. Some opportunities don't come when you want them. But if you're prepared, good opportunities can happen. Always be ready, because you never know when your number is gonna get called.
I'm not coming back.
EMI Apparel. Encourage me. I'm young.
Calvin T. Mann, leading EMI, served over 20,000 youth through speaking, coaching, and mentoring. He has inspired us for years. Welcome to EMIYTV Podcast with your host, Calvin T. Mann, the Encourager.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It is 4 o'clock. You know what time it is. This is your EMIYTV time. And I'm in the building with a whole lot of people. Some tall, some short, some big, some small. But we are in the space. And it's good to be here. After such a great weekend for the ladies, we are excited to get into this conversation, right? And we most definitely want to make sure that today we get some clarity on a few things about Saturday. I got stuck in a duty. And so, you know, but it was an awesome time. Just a quick note for the day. Remember this, there was some information I put out, some soft porn on the screen in the room.
My.
All right. And we missed Monday. But so today, since we're going to have a conversation, there's a book. I'm going to start off because we didn't give a book last Monday. You all need to go knock on the door of Rachel Allen's page and get her book, right? And so I gotta get the name because I'm in the middle of the book as we speak, but I don't have the name. I'll get that for you in a minute. But other than that, today has been a pretty decent day. We got some more news on the RV, so I'm not too happy. I'm a little gloomy. I'm trying to smile through it. And hello, Heather.
Right, dive right in. Hi, Calvin.
How you doing, baby?
I'm good.
Yeah, you sure?
Mm-hmm.
I see you looking a little cowish.
Yes, I decided to wear my cowl today.
Yeah.
I did have one the other day too.
Yeah.
It just sheds a lot.
Well, most cows do shed at some point. It might be milk, it might be meat, but the shed.
No.
What's up,
pray
Dad?
for Calvin.
Not much. All right.
Good.
I ain't getting in the middle of that conversation. Wise man.
Good. So we got a special guest in the building.
Yes.
Miss Antoinette James. There's a little story I got to share. This is a great story as we segue into this. It was back in 2000 and whatever. I forget the year.
2008.
Was it 2008?
Yes.
So it was 2008. we were invited. I was invited to come. Antoinette, she laid it all out for the MEE. We coming up to the Boys and Girls Club, and it was right in the middle of a snowstorm. And we drove up into the snowstorm, got in. We had a ball. It was a great, great day, and me and Antoinette James continue to have a relationship that is unparalleled for a lot of people to understand. But I got a lot of relationships like that. You know, Cal is a good guy.
Yeah.
And so
You do say so yourself.
take the time to do a self pat down. Right. And so I just, you know, any chance I get, I always say thank you. It's gotten close and personal and friends and family. So we're in the building today to do a review. And so I'm going to let Dr. Het do her thing to get started.
Well, I want.
You might want to talk in the microphone, though, babe.
I am talking.
I can barely hear you.
If my engineer didn't say I needed to make an adjustment. Anyway, I am really very, very grateful for everybody that participated in the Women Ignited Summit. There was, you know, when you put on events like this, there's a lot of work involved. There are a lot of moving parts, and as you're moving around and moving about to get it to its summit, you know, it's a really good work, but you do have to stay prayed up. The speakers, the facilitators, the volunteers, everybody, we had to stay prayed up because as we uncovered last year during our same summit. It was a challenge. It was a challenge to birth that summit last year. Not as much of a challenge this year in the same way, but it's still challenging when you have to show up and you're bringing so much of yourself to the space that you're about to occupy and the words that you're about to share. And so because our theme this year was the perfect plan, it was all about the plan. It was all about how we put certain things together in our lives and how we then implement it. We talked a lot about the action behind having a plan and how important that is. And so we had our mistress of ceremony, Michelle Harper, who was so super fantastic, dynamic in her delivery and how she held the whole thing together. She used the analogy of taking a flight for the participants being, you know, the people who are on the flight, for the speakers being part of the co-pilots. She spoke to the flight attendants. For me, the flight attendants were the volunteers that were there participating, but the passengers on the plane and the references that she made to keep people connected and to keep bringing people back to the reasons why we were gathered together. She was phenomenal. She was phenomenal. She was. She was born to, at least she was born, we know she was born to make a difference in the world, but for that moment, she made a huge impact, at least for me. What do you say, Antoinette?
I would. She was great. She was awesome.
She was incredible.
Yes.
She was incredible.
Yes.
And then she allowed us to celebrate with her because she was celebrating her birthday. She had spent her birthday weekend with us. And so that was another joy to be able to share time with her that way. So again, Michelle, if you're listening out there, happy Earth Day.
Yes. Happy Earth Day.
So glad that day came and you are a part of this world because you do make it better. And so she kicked off for our keynote speaker, who was Gail Perry Mason, who was talking about the Woman Ignited and the plan. And so not only did she talk about it, but she dropped some jewels. So what we look at in terms of, from the collector's point of view, what we look at is these three critical points in a woman's journey. One, her personal walk and her inner healing. Two, her financial circumstances and healing that. And the third is her social relationships and intimate relationships and healing that. And Antoinette and I were under the topic of social relationships, and she covered family structures. And so I know she had shared so much and poured so much about her experience and her journey, and about, when you have a perfect plan, sometimes down the line, God's plan will circumvent your plan. But she wanted to talk a little bit today about how you still are able to manage and navigate that perfect plan and understand a little bit more about that. So she wanted to come today to talk a little bit more about that and give us some instruction and tools to use along this journey. So I do want to give her a few minutes, one, to introduce herself, tell us a little bit about her background and what she does and how she came into, I want her to talk about the unique family structures, which was the topic that she had, for the summit. So, Antoinette, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about you.
Okay, thank you, Heather and Calvin. I just want to say it's definitely an honor to be here. And as Calvin shared how our relationship started in 2008, I was a teen director at the Boys and Girls Club, and we had an event for our teenagers, and I said, I know someone who could come and inspire the teens, and that was Calvin Mann and Emmy encouraged me. I Am Young, and it was a hit. And from there on, we've been connected ever since. And then I'm so glad to connect to Heather, his beautiful wife, and Women Ignited, and how that even happened, right? How the stars just aligned that night we were at my home, that experience. So I'm just definitely glad to be here. I am Antoinette James. I am an advocate and a self-published author of Behind the Badge, Her Story. Definitely, I advocate for all people. I'm a social being, and I believe that we all have rights. And someone said to me, boy, you do a lot. Why do you do so much? And my response is because I lived through so much. And so I am here to give back, to share, to be a light through the tunnel, because what I went through, it was very dark. And I've come in contact with so many people from all walks of life. And I've realized that what God brought me through is for me to give back and help other people come out. I kind of visualize myself like a Harriet Tubman. Once she was freed, she wanted to go back and free other people. So that's how I envision myself.
Wow.
So, yeah. And you want me to continue about the unique family dynamics?
Yeah. So talk a little bit about the summit and your unique position there.
Oh, yeah. The summit was, as Dr. Heather stated, the summit was amazing. Every woman that came and presented, every woman that was in the room was phenomenal. I walked away empowered, ignited, as the summit was themed. And I just want to say that in my presentation, it was the unique family dynamics. I talked about being a grandparent, raising grandchildren, helping care for my elderly mother, as well as caring for my daughter who has encountered some illness. Not only one daughter, but a couple of my daughters. And in the time we're living in, family dynamics has really changed, right? We not only have grandparents raising grandchildren, us as adults caring for our parents, because our parents are getting older and the cost of care is extremely expensive out the roof. Like, did you know sometimes to have a elderly parent in a convalescent home or being cared for is over $5,000 a month?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of money. And a lot of times, as the theme of the conference was the perfect plan, my personal life, I realized my plan was like pulled out from under me, where my husband and I were empty nesters just waiting for our daughter to graduate so we could be alone, be at home, do what, if you want to walk around the house naked, you could. Right. Some of us know about that. Or just to travel the world and be carefree from the parental responsibilities. But God had different plans for us. And a late night clarion call, we answered. And from that point on, we've been caring for our two of my daughter's 3 grandchildren, her sons. So we have grandchildren that we've been caring for since birth. And then when my middle daughter became sick, and we had to take care of her on and off throughout the 18 years of her diagnosis. And my mom had some car accidents, some disabilities, and had to take care of that. My husband was like, we didn't plan for that. So what do you do when your plan doesn't work or you think it's not working, right? And the nuggets or the words of encouragement and advice that I would love to share, that how did I get through that, or how did we get through that? And the thing is that we're not even done living through that, because we're still living. Mm-hmm. We're still alive. We're still here. We're still present. And as I just recently heard, it's lifing. Right. What do you do when life is life? And then we even had credit scores, budget reviews, savings, living wills and trusts and power of attorneys, which those things are all necessary in place, especially us as people of color. But what do you do when your emergency saving is just tapped out? What do you do when your bank account, your savings is empty, right? What do you do? And for me, I realized that our plan or my plan had to be in line with God's plan. And God's word, as Jeremiah 29:11 states, he has a plan for us. Right. And it's not to harm us. It's for us to prosper, for us to be in good health, right? For us to get to that destiny. And one thing I also love is Romans 8:28. It says, and we know that all things work together for the good of them who love God and are called according to his purpose. So with that said, for our family, it was about finding not only your faith in God, because our trials and troubles, they don't come to break us, they come to make us. So that's number one I had to learn, because I really thought, when life comes in as a flood, the Lord will lift a standard against it, because it was wave after wave and things in my family. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who's listening to this podcast or watching that has not experienced some type of not only natural disaster, but life disasters. Whether it's death, whether it's divorce, right? From a job, from a mate, whether it's trauma in your life, family, finances, right? I'm sure everyone is like, okay, God, I had a plan. Right. I had a plan to be married to this man forever, or I had a plan to be at this job, or I had a plan to retire and go live in Florida. My prayers are definitely with those in Florida. So what do? You pivot. You change your perspective. You actually increase your prayer life. Because trust me, prayer is the key, and faith unlocks the door. And God definitely showed me that in my journey, in my life, and what I came through. I also realized our lived experiences, thank you, Mother and Justice Speakers Bureau, makes us the expert. Mm-hmm. I learned that in that training, my lived experiences, not only my lived experiences, but my professional life. Mm-hmm. Because it seems like every career that I had an opportunity to partake of helped me build not only my toolbox, but my faith. Mm-hmm. From working at CareerWorks, where I met the amazing Michelle Harper. Oh, nice. Yes, I started there as a job developer, to a case manager and a facilitator with women in Work First. And then from there, going to the medical examiner's office, and from the medical examiner's office, going to the police department, from the police department to a crime victims advocate. And then from there, I even work with the Detroit Youth Violence Prevention Initiative, right? Helping teens in reentry, troubled youth, and individuals coming out of incarceration. And then I met Calvin working as a teen director in the Boys and Girls Club. So the things that I've experienced working in my life all worked together for me after I resigned from the police department. So in hindsight, God definitely showed me everything that I lived through and everything that I went through would come together as one to help other women, victims of crime, of domestic violence, those in mental health, those who are coming out of prison, those who are teenage moms who need resources, because that was me. So God uses everything that we go through in our life as tools to help other people come through. So that's something that I learned. And in the summit, I shared a lot about my personal journey, the experiences that I had with my children, my mom, and things like that. And I felt like, okay, what did I leave out? Did I leave out a tool to give them? Right? And the first tool, like I said, is prayer. Prayer for God not only to answer your prayer, but bring you the people. Bring you the resources, bring you your tribe, bring you your village, connect the dots for you so you can see the picture is bigger than what you're presently in. Because sometimes when we're in the storm, you can't see.
That's right.
You are blinded by the rain. You're blinded by, even in the trauma, is really dark and you can't see. So you pray for God to bring you somebody to help, not save you, but guide you. Because God is the only one who could save. But he brings people like Calvin, Dr. Heather, Dave. Am I saying it right?
That's right, Dan.
Yep. He brings people in our life to help us get through what we're going through. And not only do we pray, we ask God for our plan. Can you change? Sometimes you got to go back to the drawing board. Let me go back, change my perspective on things, right? And then our partners, our parents, our children, our mates, because my husband has definitely been, I thank God for him.
Won't he do it?
Yeah, he will. and it's my third marriage, and somebody said 3 strikes you out, but I say it wasn't 3 strikes, it was a home run for me.
I know that's right.
Yes, and it's not that relationships don't have trouble, because Job knows that question, right? Job knows the answer. A man born of a woman, his days are full of trouble. But I know that there is a God who helps us get through that. And in our trouble, God definitely has built trust in God, in our village, in our tribe, in our relationships. And so to have a great partner is key as well, who not only may not be on the same page, but in the same book.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because sometimes we think, you're not on my same page, you're not with me, but I'm in the book. I might be behind or ahead of you, because sometimes what God might show you, he doesn't show your mate. And I learned with my husband, because he was like, when every time something happened, he was like, we didn't plan for this. And how do you convince someone, he's older than I am, ready to retire, and we're repeat parents.
Right.
We have an 11th grader, we have a 7th grader, and life is different this time around. Young people, children, our teens are different than they were then, and the dynamics are different. But I just hope sharing my story and being a light based on all the things that I lived through would help people kind of come through, especially crime victims advocacy, right? A lot of people don't know the state has what's called crime victims compensation. That if you're injured as a result of a crime and you lose, whether your job or you lose wages, the state pays up to $45,000.
Wow.
$45,000 that you don't have to pay back. Does our community know about that?
No.
They do now.
They do now. And I thank God, because it took my experience. I'm a survivor, not only a survivor of crime, I'm a thriver. Because what I went through, I did get stuck for a minute, but God got me out of that. And it took other women who made it out to help me out.
Well, tell everybody, show everybody your book.
Oh, yes, Calvin. Behind the Badge, her story.
Right, and so let the people know just a little bit, if you will, what led you to write the book.
What led me to write the book? That's a great question, Calvin.
Thank you. I try.
Literally, what led me to write the book, because I never thought about being an author. I journaled from a child through all my adult life. Even when I was a police officer, I journaled. I journaled my thoughts. I journaled my day. I journaled people that I came across. I journaled just anything I could see that was important to me. I wrote about it. And one night I had a dream. And in the dream, I heard, "Tell your story. You lived and I didn't." And when I woke up from that dream, I kid you not, I ran down. I actually woke up crying in tears and sweat. I went into the bathroom and I was asking God, help me to see what this was all about. Right. So the dream and what I envisioned and the woman that I believed at initially what I saw and heard, I Googled, I researched, and I found out, sometimes you don't realize people who people are until they're not. And what I mean by that, you could be in the same room, in the same company, in the same space, and involved in some certain things, and you don't know who they really are until they're gone. And so that dream is really what inspired me to write the book, and I began to write. This was in 2006. After I resigned from the police department January 17th of 2006. I went home and had a dream. And that dream inspired me to start writing. And something that I realized is the voice who I thought it was, I realized it was me talking to me. Tell your story. You lived and I didn't. And I realized I had to, some things we have to die to live. Right? Yes. And what is that, right? What do we have to die to for us to live? And it took for me to die to live. So that's, Calvin, that's what inspired me to write the book. Even the book cover was a dream. And as a former Detroit police officer, there's some things that I have seen.
Right.
And in my life, going backwards and bringing it forward. So in Behind the Badger Story, I don't just write about me, I write about her.
Awesome. And so, it's funny that Saturday, just a little bit of about Saturday in the room. I think I said this Saturday out in the hallway to John. In the room in 2000. So if it was 2009, I met Heather. Right? And it was 2000, I believe it was 12 or 11 or 13, Crystal. Same time that same year I met Michelle. We move forward, and in the room is Stacy. And Stacy, who else was in that room? It was, as it was going, the timeline of the women, right? And so when one of the first people I introduced Heather to was Crystal, right? Eventually she would meet Antoinette. Right? We were doing the business shower when she met Stacy. And so in that work, she knew Gail. I met Gail years later. Then it was, she knew
my aunt,
because my aunt had the store, so I would go in the store asking about her to my aunt when my aunt had the health food store. And I'm saying that, and I'm pointing that out because there was this piece when the first Women's Summit went down. And so when the first Women's Summit went down, we were at Huntington Bank. These people were in the building. Now, of these women, Dave, that I'm talking about, each one of these women are spiritually gifted. Not one of the women that I just named were ordinary women. They're spiritually gifted, thriving. Like I looked on today, Gail is in New York with her youth. Right? We have a calling that sometimes we don't answer. And when we don't answer, sometimes the calling will put you in a butt whooping state where you eventually have to pick up the phone and answer. And so this summit, to me, being as intimate as it was a very intimate, powerful, synergetic space. So it behooved me to stand outside, although they had me singing happy birthday, things like that, right? But it was standing on the outside, right? You knew once you stepped into the room that there was a lot happening, and you could see. And my expectation, unlike many others people's expectation, I expect some great things to come out of it for the women involved. Miss Heather?
Well, thank you, Calvin. I think one of the challenges that I asked of the women, one of the things we gave them was a lighter. And so you talk about being spiritually gifted. When you're listening to what Spirit and how Spirit is guiding you, it's amazing how things emerge. Things that you really weren't expecting. I was like, because if you were ever with me with a workshop or an event, I always want to give somebody something tangible to take. Because sometimes in those times, those hard times or those dark times, you need to be able to put your hands on something that you can imprint on. And so that was huge for me. And so I was praying about, okay, this is the Women Ignited Summit. So how do you represent, what thing can you represent being ignited? And I was pondering over that. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to surrender this thought. I'm not going to keep, trying to stretch my mind to figure it out. And so I let it go. And then maybe the next morning or so, I woke up and it was like, you ignite with the lighter. You need to have that light. It's an inner light that needs to now be an outer light. And so it was a whole story behind it, which is how God speaks to me. He speaks to me in the story to let me see the bigger picture. Nothing is as it seems on the surface, and that's how he deals with me. So I don't live on the surface because I know that's not where my true sight is. My sight is inner sight. And so and that's the gift that I've been given, is a gift of the inner sight. So I might see things much differently than most people do. And I listen for that guidance. And sometimes it can get really difficult. I was sharing that this was a difficult birth for me. The Women's Summit this time was a difficult birth. I because of the plans that I had, right? And I had everything laid out. It was a team of people here. We had sponsors. We had all of these people that by less than 3 weeks, none of them were there. None of them were there. And so I'm looking at, I'm like, God, okay, this is what you gave me to do. And either I'm falling short, which I need some help, or this is not going to happen. Like I really felt, I knew it had to happen. I knew it was a heavy birth, but it was very heavy to carry that. And so, I started calling, which has been a space for me, because having to ask for help, of course, we talk about the strongholds, right? Having to ask for help when I had already asked for help and it was already supposedly there, and for everything, it's like the bottom to drop out of it. It was very discouraging. And so what I had to do, I had to remember, it's not about what I see. And so the many times I had to step back, I had to do a couple things. I had to raise my frequency. And this is when the plan fails. We're talking about, what do you do, right? What do you do? So when the plan fails in something like this, I've already sent out flyers. I have people committed. All of these different things are happening and expectations are happening. And for me, the bottom is open. And so, like I said, I prayed about that. And then having Calvin in the same space and the type of man that he is, he's already making adjustments. I didn't even know it. So between him and God, they're having conversations that I have no idea about and working things out.
Yes, God.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I had to keep surrendering. So part of the plan, when the plan fails, is you have to keep surrendering.
Yes.
I had to keep resetting my lens. And one of the things that I used, because I know that essential oils, flowers, those things increase your frequency. And so I have some cucumber melon oil. And it is so, it always reminds me of walking into a spa. And so I kept putting the oil on my wrist, right? And every time I would feel that way, I would say, and I was walking around like this all day. But I knew I needed to increase my frequency. Right. I had to go back to my place and my space of surrender. And I had to be able to move it quickly because the heaviness would come and it would try to sit. And I'm like, this is not the lens. Let me reset. And then it automatically took me to that place of surrender. And I could keep resetting. And I did it as much as, I know Calvin was looking at me something like, are you all right? You all right? But I needed to have some tools. And because that was one of the tools that was given to me, I could change my frequency from that low vibration, which also draws to you other low-hanging fruit, low-hanging frequencies and vibrations, and people that would come to you, well, how come you don't have this yet? How come I didn't see this yet? Do you have this? And I'm saying it's all in the plan because it's the perfect plan. How could you have a summit called the perfect plan, right? The perfect plan. And I'm sitting there like, all right. My part of the plan, what I was planning, has fallen through. So the perfect plan must be yours, God, and I'm going to stop. Trying to fight that. I'm going to stop and I'm going to listen and I'm going to follow. And one of the people that I had to follow was my husband.
Yeah. Do that.
Take their lead, right?
Right. And listen.
Yeah.
Right.
And listen.
And so that's I don't know if that was necessary, like if that was really right for me and for us. Like Dave, you've been in different circumstances as well. You know, when you are put against a wall, what is one of the first things you do?
Pray. Pray. Don't hesitate to pray. Take it to God. Because she said he has a plan for our life that gives us hope in the future. And same thing that you try to do when you do a plan, it's all about the future. But like writing a book, everything has to be edited. You may start off with a plan and say, I'm going to do this. You give a blueprint to a construction worker. At the end of the day, when they go to do the work, they see one thing, you see another thing, and God sees the bigger thing.
Right.
So when he tells us not to lean to our own understanding, not tell us don't use our mind, but turn to him, and he'll straighten the path. And you have to trust him on that.
Right.
So anything that I face, I have to go, well, I'm not a me person, I'm a wilderness person. I go into the woods. I literally go into the woods, just like John the Baptist. And I pray there. I'm not distracted. I'm not turned away from anything. I'm just focused. And then when I begin to listen to that quiet, still voice, he gives me that inner peace because he begins to unfold the plan. But we have to trust him for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's more than a notion, right? Because the trust.
Yes.
I've been calling him out lately. You know what I mean? Like, hey, my man.
Right.
Like for real. Like, what's the deal? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
What's the deal? Like, you know, you said, come on through, homie. Like, I'm talking to you. Mayday, Mayday, 911. Right? Because I've been diligent.
But and I just want to say also, and Antoinette alluded to this too, that God will put those people in your path. Like I reached out to Dave. Dave said that he was my brother. Dave said that, you know, if you need something, you know, and he said that to both of us. And so I needed him yesterday.
Yeah.
And he didn't hesitate. He didn't hesitate. So God knew, because the plan that I had for yesterday was a different plan.
He's all knowing.
Right. And put in the spaces that he put me in for the time that I was there, I know I needed to be in that space. And so I am strengthened and reminded, even through the summit, that perfect plan, there is a perfect plan for you. You may not have all the parts to it. You may have to go through something to get to it. But I also have to remember that my thanks and my gratitude is before it arrives.
Amen.
And so I think that's where sometimes we go wrong. And that's why I had to keep raising my frequency, because I had to go back to that higher space so that I could connect to my source. I mean, you can connect to God anywhere, but there's that place where it's no more woe is me, where you can surrender that, where you can say, okay, this is the plan. I know this is what you'll have me do, but all of these things are coming up. All these obstacles are forming. How do I overcome the obstacle? So my how is where I connect with God. My what is I keep it moving. I keep it moving, and meet me on the road. God, meet me on the road to doing your will, because that's what's in my heart.
Amen.
And so from that space, and then from the space of giving thanks, not just for what you have, but what is coming for you. Plans for your future.
Yes.
To prosper you, not to harm you. So if I'm feeling heavy, I feel like something is harming me, I'm like, that's not your promise. This is not your promise. So you're perfect. So let me see where I need to adjust my lens.
That's right.
I have to adjust my lens, because if this is my truth, and I believe that, I have to change the way I'm looking at it. The perspective that we talk about.
Yes.
And I think, and the summit did that for a lot of the participants.
It was amazing.
The change in perspective and the lens. Because even with just the lighter, you're lighter. Not just the instrument, but you're lighter. You have lighter in your hand. Like, you should leave this place lighter. Like all of the plays on the words, right? Yeah. This is the light. Look at all the tools in that one item. God was like, let me illuminate this for you. It's bigger than just giving somebody a bic, right? It was bigger than the bic. Lighten their load. All of those interpretations, all of those insights were specifically for the women who were there. And they got it and took it with them. Even the facilitators, and that was the other part that God gave me, that everybody was supposed to participate. All the facilitators and speakers, they participated in the summit. They weren't on the sidelines. They were active, involved, just like a participant, because it was for all of us. And the wisdom and the insights and the questions that were prompted there were designed to open us all. And that was the synergy that kept flowing through this space, pulsating through the space. And everybody that was supposed to be a light in that space was a light in that space.
I agree. It was a light.
It was a light.
That room was ignited.
It was ignited.
It was ignited from the beginning.
From the beginning.
Beginning to the end. It was great.
Yes. So what's next?
Well, first of all, Rachel Allen's book is called Get Your Business Legit. It's a great book. Like I've already did my pre-read. I'm knocking this book out by tomorrow's class. But I'm sharing that with you because if you're in business, this is a good book to have, right? So
what makes it good?
What makes it good? The information that you don't have. The ideas and the concepts of your business. One of the real things that makes it good is the fact that a lot of times we put all the pressure and the weight on God for business. And so we don't take the steps, the necessary steps. We're waiting on God to come in to fill those lanes. And God doesn't fill those lanes. You have to fill those lanes in order for God to add the increase. Right? And so a lot of times...
That'll preach.
A lot of times, thank you. A lot of times, because I am very guilty of it. So you have business scattered because it doesn't have order. Right? And so you have business scattered. So you get a little bit here and a little bit here. Right? In this book, she lines it up for you. Your time, how you access your time, things that don't require you to participate, the things you need to know, the systems to operate. So that's just when I finish this boy by tomorrow, right, it's going to be a lot of information in me because it's clear and it's detailed and it's simple for you to get it. So for a lot of us, we take the shortcut, right? I go here, I'm going to take this, I'm going to get this piece, I'm going to get this little piece right here, I'm going to add this piece. Yeah, I'm a boss. And you're not even close. And that was the thing that was eye-opening about being in this class, as well as getting in that book and being spanked in sort of ways that a lot of the stuff you come across, you just don't walk in it. So God is literally waiting on you.
I love that. Add the increase.
Yes. Say, do the work. That's where faith comes in, right? Faith without works is dead. So we have to do the work.
Can't be a doer. Can't be a hearer, not a doer.
Exactly.
Well, you got to be a doer, not a hearer only.
Right. That's right.
But what I wanted to inject is when you were talking about the lighter, I was thinking as it illuminates light, that a lot of times we're in places where there's a lot of darkness of ignorance. And what happened in that space, I wasn't there, but listen to the energy that's being presented right now. It was that light of knowledge that expelled the darkness of ignorance. Y'all walked away with something. And sometimes, you hear people say knowledge is power. I always like to say knowledge is potential power, but until you light it, it's just sitting there.
That's right.
Y'all got it lit Saturday. And because you got it lit, now you're too legit to quit.
Too legit.
Right.
That's MC Hammer, right?
That's right.
Awesome. It's been an amazing journey. I am so super excited about the new sisters in the tribe. So we identified the 9 tribes. So I'm going to see if I can get them right. And today, help me if I miss one. Okay. So it is good woman, woman of vision, substance, value,
Wisdom.
Yes, absolutely. Virtue, peace, 2 more.
I think faith. Did you?
Woman of faith, absolutely. And it's one more. Anyway, we had an opportunity to help women find their tribe. And so this is the second time we did this at the summit. And finding your tribe means that you're not going to be left alone. That you have that Dave to reach out to. If you get stuck, if you need encouragement, and it's so encouraging to know that there's somebody praying for you. Genuinely praying for you. And for me, when I think about prayer, what I do is when I don't know what to do is when I pray. That's first. Secondly is after I pray, I don't continue to pray the same prayer. Because if I'm still praying the same prayer, that means I don't believe that it's being answered. So I'm not going to keep praying. I'm going to start thanking you.
Amen.
So my prayer has to change to thanks, because I'm thanking you for what you've already done, because I already prayed for that. And so that strengthens me. And keeping my vibration high, because it's not about what I see. That's not the process. It has to come from the spirit realm, the thought realm, through a process to get to here. Just like our children. That's how babies are born. They're born in the spirit, in the thought, And then they have to come through a process of a potentially 9-month process to get here. The seeds that are planted in the ground, they have to go through a process to break through. And so that is what keeps me encouraged. When people say, yeah, but I've been asking for this and I've been asking for that. Yeah, okay. I heard one of the motivational speakers, and I'm gonna get off my soapbox. One of the motivational speakers talked about you don't plant a seed and then keep digging it up to see if it's growing.
Take care of it.
Right. You got to keep watering it.
Nurture it.
You still have work to do now. You don't get to sit back and say, okay, I'm letting God handle it, like you said, Calvin. You don't get to sit back and throw your hands up. What you do is put your hands to the plow and you keep it moving. Find the other pieces on your way forward. Now, there are times when we have to pause and reset, but you can't stay there. You can't sit there. You have to keep moving. And so,
God knows I am.
And thank you, Heather, because I agree with you on that. Something about what I've done recently, and I'm going to say recently because life has been lifing, but shift my prayer to thanks. I like to thank God for everything, and I've changed from asking to just thank you.
right.
Holding on.
Right. And it makes it.
You know, we have to remember, we thank him in the beginning, we thank him in the middle, we thank him in the end, because he got a plan. And that plan, once we realize that it's his plan and his purpose, and we follow his will, the problem is most of us want to run on our plan.
Yes.
So our plan is limited. God's plan is unlimited, and he has all unlimited resources.
Right.
So when you tap into his plan, there's no limitation.
Right.
The only limitation is you in the way.
Right.
You're supposed to do your part, just like the farmer. The farmer doesn't only cultivate the land, take care of the land. He goes and talks to the people because he's already preparing for the harvest. See, and no farmer's not thinking about the end result. They always thinking about, I got to go to the marketer and I got to let them know this is what's going to manifest. And once the manifestation comes, 40, 60, 100-fold return, they go forward and take what they already believe was coming. Right. If farmers didn't believe that corn wasn't going to come up, they wouldn't be planting.
That's right.
So we have to believe that it is.
Antoinette, where can we reach you at?
Oh, where can you reach me at? I am on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. My social media is being rebuilt. And you can find me on those social media platforms. And I'm available for resources. I call myself a walking yellow pages. If you need it, I can find it. If I don't have it,
now.
You know, from mental health to disability and things like that, because I helped my family through it, so I'm willing to give back, like the farmer, right?
That's right.
Dave, where they going to reach you at?
You can reach me at David FM. That's right, I'm going to mix it up now. David FMAM Patterson.com.
All right. Miss Heather?
You can reach me at yourinspiredwithad.journey.com. That's yourinspiredjourney.com. And you can reach me by phone. Please don't DM me. Call me at 313-759-7855. 313-759-7855.
You can reach me at calvintman.com. I would be, I guess the word would say, shameful if I did not tell the ladies, congratulations. Way to come together and put things the best way they can for the people that were in the room, the plan. The women were ignited. That was the goal, and it was accomplished. And people left in a good way. I'm sharing this because a lot of times when you look out into our world, life is lifing, as they've been saying, but more importantly, when we look out into our world, we see the absence of a healthy spirit. We see the absence of a physical father and a being. And I was sharing this morning with a friend that everything that is wrong in our society is because of the absence of father, both spiritually and physically. And that is the damage for which we are in this work to assist, guide, reassure, and help people. Now it comes a time where you must help yourself as well. But it is important for us to understand that when you look at the culture and you take it back, we have to change the culture from the perspective that we're waiting on one person. See, back in the day, it was kings and queens. It was only one. You fast forward, it was Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. These were all individuals. The people have always been great. It is the individual that we sit back and wait on. That's a genetic inherent before AC and BC. You can no longer wait on one person. Get your tribe, as they talked about, and move forward in change and in life. But most importantly, make sure you got your hands to that plow and never look back. Peace.